What's going on, guys? My name is Richard, and welcome back to the weekly watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. As always, we'll talk through both the fundamentals and technicals of all the stocks on my focus list. If you enjoy my analysis, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And let's dive right in and talk about AMD. So overall, looking at the earnings and sales, you can see excellent growth here, triple-digit growth in terms of earnings the last 4 quarters. Sales growth is very strong as well. You've got nice annual estimates for 2020 and 2021, up almost 50% next year. And overall, you can see strong IBD ratings, an increase in fund ownership over the past 2 years, and 2 high-quality funds in there as well. And overall, last week, you can see it broke the declining trend line. If we draw that in here, and you've got the standard double bottom pivot at 88.72. So as for the technicals, let's take a look here. And I did buy this on Friday as it broke through that downward trend line, and I'll look to add as it breaks through the standard double bottom pivot. So that is AMD, and next up we've got apps. And overall, like AMD, you can see excellent earnings and sales growth, accelerating earnings and sales the past 4 quarters. Last quarter earnings up 200%, sales up 116%, and a return on equity of 49.2%. And overall, you can see nice estimates for 2021 and 2022, an increase in fund ownership, although you don't have any high-quality funds investing into this stock at this time. Looking at the chart, this is a very V-shaped recovery, and that's why I want to see it consolidate here right at all-time highs before I would consider entering this stock. So taking a look at the technicals, let's run through that. You can see I've drawn in this line right here, this horizontal line at the high of Friday, and that's because I want to see it kind of pull back here, form a little bit of a handle, because this is very V-shaped, but overall this stock is very, very strong. You can see that after its earnings report, it had a nice recovery on high volume. Then on this day, which would have been the ideal entry, you've got a breakthrough of the 50 SMA, 10 EMA, 21 EMA, and also the prior all-time high, the green line here at 32.50. So a very strong stock, but before I would consider entering this, I want to see it consolidate so it forms a low-risk entry point, and then potentially I would enter on a teal dot or a break above this high right here at 43.57. So next on the list, we've got COUP software, and overall you can see excellent earnings growth and sales growth as well. You can see nice estimates for 2022, up 36%, with the revisions up as well. Nice IBD ratings here, an increase in fund ownership, and 4 high-quality funds in there as well. And overall, if we take a look at the chart, this does look like a double bottom here, but the pattern rec has picked up a cup shape. And overall, you can see you've got a pivot here at 320.30, which would be the kind of standard double bottom entry here, and the overall pivot at 353.55. So you've got the RS line consolidating along with the price for about 4 months here. So at this moment, you've got a nice price consolidation, and if this goes, it can really run. So as for technicals, let's take a look here. You can see that it decreased on volume here. I don't like this gap down, but overall, it's consolidated that. It formed a nice kind of bounce here near the lows of this time period, and you can see nice gap ups along with the overall market. And I've drawn in a few alerts here right before the high of this day right here, and then also at the standard pivot at 320.30. So this would be kind of an early entry, a little bit riskier, and you've got a nice inside day consolidation on Friday. So that is Coupa, and next on the list, we've got Etsy. And overall, you can see that you've got blowout earnings and sales the past 2 quarters of 483%, sales of 128%, and return equity up as well of 48.5%. And if we look at the annual estimates, you can see in 2020, it's supposed to increase 108%, but only a further 2% next year, and the revisions are down as well. Overall, you've got an EPS rating of 99, the group RS is an A, SMA rating is an A, accumulation distribution is a D-, which isn't great, but you've got a nice overall composite rating of 99. And look at the fund ownership, you can see a nice increasing trend, and you have 3 high-quality funds investing into this stock as well. And looking at the chart, you can see that it's still within the pivot of this stage 1 cup, so this is only a stage 1, and you've got the RS line kind of basing along with the price during this time period. So as for the entry setup, what I want to see is potentially an early entry above this pivot at 147.65, and eventually a breakout into all-time highs above 154.88. So this pivot would be kind of within the standard pivot of this cup shape right here. So that is Etsy, and next up we've got a recent IPO, FTHM or Fathom Holdings. And overall, you can see nice revenue growth and last quarter earnings up 114%. It's not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. The EBS rating is 72, the group RS an A-, the SMA rating is a D, accumulation distribution is a B+, and the overall composite rating is a 93. And overall, you don't have a lot of funds in it at this time, and you have no high-quality funds in there as well, but it's a promising IPO in its IPO advance phase, and you can see it's right near this pivot from the IPO base. So the RS line is near all-time highs. The overall RS rating is a very strong 97. And as I said, it's right near that pivot of 21.22 from that IPO base. So as for the entry setup, what I want to see is either a break of this downward trend line here. And you can see I've got the standard pivot drawn in here. So that could be an entry as well. But basically, I want to see it kind of consolidate a little bit more, potentially have some inside days. And then you could use that as an entry setup if it breaks through the high of that pivot day right here at 22.88 and eventually into all-time highs above 24.84. So overall, really good price and volume action. You can see a big volume day here on the attempted breakout, but it did consolidate and fall back within this price range. So next up on the list, we've got GRWG or Grow Generation Corp. And overall, you can see excellent revenue growth the past few quarters. And last quarter, earnings up 100%, sales up 123%, and return on equity up 2%. And overall, you can see nice estimates for both 2020 and a gain of 120% expected in 2021. And overall, you don't have a great EBS rating, but the group RS is an A+, the SMA rating is a C, accumulation distribution is an A, and the overall composite rating is a 97. And overall, you can see a real explosion in the number of funds over the past 2 years, and you have one high-quality fund in there as well. And there, of course, was the news from the recent elections that a lot more states are legalizing marijuana, so this company would stand to benefit from those results. And overall, looking at the chart, you can see the RS line is right at all-time highs. The overall RS rating is a 99, and it's right in the stage 1 cup with handle with a standard pivot of 21.33, so it's a little bit above that at this point, but it's right at these previous all-time highs of 22.88. So as for entry setup, what I want to see is a consolidation day, potentially an inside day here, and then a break through the high of here at 24.30, or if it pulls back and reverses intraday on volume, you could buy it through this pivot of 22.88. So I really like this chart. You can see it's right above these previous all-time highs, the green line here, and you can see a nice breakout on volume, and overall looks very, very strong. Next on the list, we've got Microsoft, and overall you can see decent growth here in terms of earnings and sales. Nice earnings expectations for 2021 and 2022. And looking at the fund ownership, you can see a whole bunch of funds own it, and it's been increasing steadily over the past few years. And you have a whole bunch of high-quality funds in there as well. And looking at the chart, you can see it's within this kind of stage 2 consolidation here with a standard pivot of 232.86 with a nice depth of 16%. And this is definitely going to be a little bit more of a slower mover compared to the IPOs, which are definitely more volatile, but this is always a good stock to have in your portfolio. So as for the technicals, what I want to see is a breakthrough, this kind of double bottom entry here, and that pivot is at 225.21. I really like these gap ups. Those are signs of institutional accumulation on higher volume, and overall you had a nice recovery on Friday as well. So you've got this pivot here, and then eventually, hopefully, a challenge of all-time highs at 232.86. So that is Microsoft. And next up, we've got another long-term growth leader in NVDA. And overall, you can see excellent growth here in terms of earnings and sales the past 3 quarters. Last quarter, earnings up 76%, sales up 50%, and return on equity up 39.2%. And overall, you can see excellent annual expectations for both 2021 and 2022. In 2022, it's supposed to be up a further 22% with revisions up as well. The EPS rating is a 98, the group RS is an A+, the SMA rating is an A, accumulation distribution is a B, and the overall composite rating is a very strong 99. And overall, you can see a nice increasing trend in the number of funds and a whole bunch of high-quality funds in there as well. You've got the RS line right at all-time highs. That's what this blue dot indicates right here. And it just broke out of a stage 3 cup with handle, and you can see it's still actionable because it's still within this blue shaded area. And overall, if we go to the chart, what I want to see is a breakout into all-time highs, or you could act on it because it's still within that pivot area. But what I would really like to see is a breakout above 589.07 on higher volume, because you can see that on this cup and handle breakout, even though the price action was good, you don't see that volume coming in and I want to see a nice kind of blue bar indicating institutional accumulation and support of that breakout. So that is NVIDIA, and next up we've got Peloton. And this is another stock that I currently own, so keep that in mind. But overall, you've got excellent earnings growth and sales growth, up over triple digits the past 2 quarters. You've got great earnings expectations for 2022, up 116%, with revisions up as well. The EPS rating is a 76, the Group RS an A-, the SM rating is a C, accumulation distribution is an A, and the overall composite rating is a 97. And overall, you can see an explosion of funds over the past few quarters, and you have 3 high-quality funds in there as well. And overall, this is a potential high tight flag here, going from 62.5 to 139.75 very, very quickly, and just a slight pullback, dipping below the 21 EMA just slightly. And overall, the RS line is right near all-time highs, pulling back a little bit along with the price, and the overall RS rating is a 99. So looking at the technicals, let's take a look at that. What I want to see is a break of this downward trend line here, or potentially a green dot or other pullback entry to the 21 EMA early next week. And I did try to buy this on Friday as it was breaking out, but it did fade throughout the day. So that is Peloton, and next up we've got QDEL. And overall, you can see excellent growth in terms of earnings and sales. Last quarter earnings were up 726%, sales up 276%, and return on equity up 68% as well. And you can see the annual expectations for 2021 are over 100% as well. And looking at the fund ownership, you can see a nice increasing trend. And you also have 3 high-quality funds investing into this stock. So overall, this is a potential kind of flawed cup with handle here with a standard pivot of 287.30. And overall, the RS rating is a 98, although we had a nice, well, not a nice, but a huge pullback here from 306 all the way down to 135, finding support right at the 200-day here, and then a nice kind of bounce back from that drop. So overall, there is one big flaw here, which is the drop on huge volume, although it did finish up on the day actually, which is the one positive here. But keep that in mind that I don't like seeing flaws like this. It'd be much better if it was kind of a gradual decline here. But overall, I don't like seeing gap downs like this on high volume. But as I said, it recovered nicely and now is right near that standard pivot of 287.30. So next up, we've got SAM, and overall, you can see excellent growth in terms of earnings and sales, and nice annual EPS expectations for 2020 and 2021 of 46%, with revisions up as well. Nice IBD ratings here, and you can see a nice increasing trend in the number of funds, and you also have 6 high-quality funds in there as well. And looking at the chart, you can see that the RS line is right near all-time highs. The RS rating is a 97. And you can see a nice gap up on volume after its earnings report, and then a slight pullback, holding up really well, finding support at the 21 EMA. So as for the entry setup, what I want to see is a breakout above the high of the breakout day, above 1092.80. So that is SAM, and next up we've got a recent IPO, Snow. And overall, you can see excellent revenue growth here, although it isn't profitable at this point. And looking at the annual EPS expectations, you can see it's not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. And the EPS rating is only a 28, the Group RS an A+, the SMA rating is a D, accumulation distribution not available, and the overall composite rating is a pretty poor 65. But you can see you've got a lot of funds in this at this time, and a whole bunch of high-quality funds in there as well. And look at the chart, you can see that they've got a stage 1 cup with handle here with a standard pivot of 301, and overall you can see a nice consolidation tighten up on this right-hand side. But overall, the RS line is pretty kind of all over the place, and the overall RS rating is only a 63. So as for the entry setup, what I want to see is a breakout above this kind of cheat here at 276.22. As I said, I like how it's kind of tightening up here above the 21 EMA, and this is the entry point that I'm looking at. So that is Snow, and next up we've got TAN, the solar ETF. And overall, you can see, looking at the chart, that it's increased nicely this year from the stage 1 cup with handle, and has had some nice consolidations, one here, which I also talked about in my previous videos, and now you've got another one at the standard pivot of 78.36, it looks like. So as for the entry setup, what I want to see is a breakout above that level on above average volume. You can see nice kind of accumulation signs, blue bars here and here during this run, and I like how it found support at the 50 SMA 10-week area down here. So that is TAN, and last on the list, we've got Tesla, which I also bought last week. And overall, you can see decent growth in terms of earnings and sales. Last quarter earnings up 105%, sales up 39%, and return on equity up 25.7%. And looking at the annual EPS, you can see nice expectations for 2020 and 2021, up a further 59%, with revisions up as well. The EPS rating is a 76, the Group R is an A+, the SM rating is a C, accumulation distribution is a B-, and the overall composite rating is a 99. And look at the fund ownership, you can see a nice increasing trend here, and you have 4 high-quality funds investing into this stock. So looking at the chart, you can see it's still within this stage 1 consolidation with a standard pivot of 502.49, and you've also got a kind of early pivot at 465.90. But overall, I like how it's tightening up here, kind of some VCP action here, right above the 50 SMA. And overall, you've got the RS line reasonably close to all-time highs and an overall RS rating of 99. So as for the technicals, I like how it's kind of had this nice long consolidation about 3 months here after this huge run, consolidating that move. And now it's tightening up here and looks like it could be ready if it breaks above this pivot and downward trend line here. So you've got a couple options here. I've highlighted this pivot right here at 445.23, and also this downward trend line could be actionable. But really, I want to see it break above this level on above average volume, and then this thing could really get moving. So this is one of my top 3 setups for next week. I'll look to add to my current position, and my other top 3 setups are AMD and also SAM. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go ahead and leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos.